Anyway, we are here, folks, with Dave Caruso.
Hey.
Dun, 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 dun.
Da, 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 da. Extraordinarily celebrated musician, singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist. Jeez.
He's been around.
Don't you think I've said that enough?
I'm just going
Tongue
to cut
twister.
to the
It
chase.
is a
He
little
done a
bit.
few things
He's-
through a couple of few years that may have gotten a little attention.
A little
Yeah,
bit.
he called me earlier in the week to find out the board, and he's talking to me. I'm like, dude, I have no. Just bring your shit, and we'll
Bring
figure it
your
out.
stuff.
We'll figure it out, dude.
'Cause
And
who
we
knows?
did. We did.
And you did, and it's
one
gonna
cable,
be
man. It
amazing.
was like that.
Shh, I'm telling you what.
Can I make it easier next time for you? Because if that's too...
No, that's perfect, bro.
Half a
By the way,
cable.
that-
We love you, Eric. Thank you.
Just a half a cable, we're good, man.
By the way, listeners, that was Dave Caruso you just heard from, and you have with you Kevin.
Holevar.
So we're very, very super duper happy to have you here and hearing just a little bit of you guys tuning in your tunes. Anybody listening right now has to stay tuned for this. This is
For real.
This is amazing, beautiful.
I find that especially the lyrical creation process so interesting because I write myself, but I don't know how to put it to the music.
Well, not all poetry can be sung or easily, right?
Right.
But a lyric, it's a slightly different format, slightly different information, the way the couplets work and the way the rhymes work and things. But a good lyric, you can sit and read it separately from the music and get something out of it. A lot of lyrics, of course, are not like that.
But is it true or is it not? Like in particular songs, you just automatically know what the harmony is. You don't even have to try. And
Well, when I write, I do write lyrics first, and a lot of people don't. But when I write, because I want to write about something, I don't want it to be. I want each song to have its own story or its own thing. And when I put the words together, they have a rhythm. If you try to force syllables into the wrong phrase, it won't fit. So one of the first things that happens when you start to sing them in your head, and I never touch an instrument when I'm writing because you're going to reach for a comfortable place and go to the same old thing. But if you do it in your head, it can be anything. It could be things you don't know how to play.
Wow.
And so you look at the words and you see how they fall, you see how the rhythm's going to go, and as you're writing, you get certain things that work together, and you say that seems verse-ish to me. That seems like a chorus, because a verse is more specific generally, and a chorus tends to be more about the main idea.
Exactly.
So, and you can kind of tell you're leading into something, and well, I need to bridge that. I just get a little bridge to the chorus there, or whatever. And when you start getting a complete picture, it starts to be singable because you can see structurally, and you have an experience. You have a musical experience. You have a musical history. You've listened to a lot of music. You already know what kind of song you're writing if you're experienced. If you're not experienced, the song will take you somewhere, and you're going to go, well, I just wrote a polka.
Yeah, bring on the
I have no use for a polka, but that's what I wrote.
But whatever the result, it's still, taking the consideration of each petal and how it falls till you have a bloom.
Right.
Yeah.
For a song, it's a lot of people don't put that much thought into it, and I appreciate.
Are you saying I'm a florist?
You may be
Okay.
in a
think
future
you're-
life or
yeah.
now. I don't know.
I only wanted to, first of all, touch on you two coming together. I mean, we didn't really talk about when and where that happened.
We just met today.
Well,
I can tell.
you're doing a beautiful job so far.
About 1990 or 89, maybe
Okay.
89, I had left the Caruso band, and my three brothers were still in it, and they made another album. And they made it at Kevin's house, at his studio. We knew Kevin because while we were in the band Caruso, he was in the band Romance, which was a really big band at the time, too. So they recorded at his studio, and his studio has moved since then. But you can tell people about that, of course. But
Plug.
there was digital.
Plug yourself.
Was that digital tape?
No, that was analog tape, and Gary Spaniel of BSA mixed the album.
That's right.
Honest to goodness. God
True
bless
story.
Gary.
See
I
how
just,
this stuff goes
I've
around
known
and
Gary
around.
a long time, and I just want to send a little prayer out to him because he lost his dad this week, and we love him. He's a great guy, and
Aw,
hopefully
sorry, Gary.
someday I talk him into doing some music for me.
But Dave
Yeah.
and I, we met that way through the brothers,
Okay.
through the same commonality of the same circuit, which we were talking about, how the circuit
Yeah.
has diminished as it would be.
You
Right.
think?
Now, while he was doing that, and I did a little bit of stuff on that album too, but we prepped for it. But it's really my brother's album. After that happened, I came to his studio. I was doing Cubase at my home, not having a good time. I hate doing the technical parts and singing and writing. I want someone else to push the buttons. Thank you very
Yeah,
much. It's
yeah.
a lot of work.
Yeah.
And he does a great job at it. So I went and
Thank
did
you.
one song at his studio, and then we didn't see each other for a long time.
Oh, okay.
And the story ends.
All right.
And then it opens up again.
All right.
And we decided to do some more work together. We made this album that you have in your hands right now.
Mm-hmm.
I
That
got
album,
free stuff. I don't get free stuff very often. I just want to say thank you very much.
You're
Did he
Dave
say that was
Caruso.
free?
Actually, it's mine. Give it to me. No, I'm kidding. Anyway. we'll see.
I've touched it to parts of my body. You can't have it now.
That's
My
it.
God.
She licked it.
I love
So
it.
that was produced entirely at Kevin's studio, Underground Productions,
Nice.
and he was my co-conspirator on that whole thing.
And it's a beautiful piece of work.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's amazing.
We made it a double.
Very-
We made it a double LP. If you open it up, it's got a gatefold, and all that, and it's got
I
artwork
need
done by Brad
autographs
Schreiber.
anyway, so.
Sure.
That's a wearing a lot of hats. Let's just say, first of all, now you're talking about recording and mixing, mastering your own music.
Yes.
In addition to writing it.
But let's point out that this is his first studio recording in 10 years, correct?
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
She did her homework.
I'm impressed with the
You helped
the
us.
gatefold. I do a lot of this type of work myself. That's perfect for autographing. I
Oh,
just
it's
have to
so
say.
beautiful. Oh yeah, the
I was
inside of the
thinking-
CD.
Both you guys autograph the set list and then autograph the inside of that
Sure.
thing, and we'll get that fucking
Awesome.
framed
Oh, that'd be amazing.
go.
Too.
for
Thank
for the cave here.
So cool.
And that's what people don't understand is why we don't hold to a particular genre, because I have a man sitting here, people who are listening, and we know you are out there. This man has 20 releases. Okay, I mean, how many people do you know have released 20? records.
I've released all my eggs.
That's it. You're done.
Right.
Well, you didn't have eggs to begin with.
That's true. Man eggs. I had man eggs.
Put all your eggs in one
Well, I can
basket,
have
which
I
is
can have
good.
man eggs, can't I?
He had many baskets for which he put eggs into.
Yes.
I
There you
think
go.
in this
Right.
day and age, you're allowed to have mayonnaise.
Yes, it's the
politically.
times are changing.
So, what years were you with RCA?
We didn't actually get signed by RCA. It was kind of a technicality. So when we got signed to the Miller Rock Network, they gave us all kinds of gear, like synthesizers
Hell
and
yeah.
samplers and guitars and basses and all kinds of paraphernalia. And when that happened, RCA did a Miller compilation album of all of the rock bands that were on the Miller Rock Network. And that compilation album was an RCA release.
Nice.
So we did that 2 years in a row. We were on the Miller Rock Network. So that's how we got to
Licensing,
be on RCA.
licensing.
Yeah, very cool.
Got it back in the day.
Well, I mean, being in this that long, I mean, come on, that would be the natural route. You've been connected with a lot of people, who are pretty in pretty, what would you call it, high places or.
I was
prominent-
gonna go with high places.
High places, and that's awesome. I do have to ask you, reoccurring events now. Songwriting clinics I'm interested in talking about. Is that something that you...
I'd like to do more of those, but right
Okay.
now they're all for schools because schools have been calling me to do them.
Okay.
Well, because they have no music program
Right.
anymore.
Or if they do have a program, they do this as an extracurricular thing. So
So it's actually in public schools. They can
Yeah.
call you and you can implement a program for
it's a one day.
any...
It's a one
one-day
session.
workshop.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they call me and sometimes they
Alright.
tell me they want a certain subject or a certain thing they want to do within the hour.
Okay.
And we'll set it
So
up.
is it vocals, strings, everything? I mean, are you
Well,
offering a full
We don't
range?
have time for that. It's like a
Oh.
50-minute thing.
Oh.
So what we typically do
Hurry up.
is
Kidding.
I've done different ways. We've written a song together as a class in 50 minutes,
Awesome.
which we come up with a topic and we do lyrics and we
Yeah.
figure out how the structure is going to go. We talk a little bit about it. Another thing we've done is I'll show how a song of mine has come from one place and gone to another and how it. and how in the recording process it changes, and we show them that. So the whole thing about that. Another thing will be about like songwriting resources, because when I started, you couldn't do anything except get a book from the library about songwriting. There was no way to learn about songwriting. Today, I mean, YouTube, everything is out there. Not that it's all equally good, but
you can learn how to run a gas line on YouTube.
I'm
saying there's some real.
Just do everything.
You can't
build a
always
bomb for
trust it. I think mentorship, person to person, is the way to go, and I think that's a beautiful give back as well, because as you're putting music out there that people love, you know that how empowering and flourishing someone can get from your knowledge of music that's really interested in doing what you're doing.
When you say you write your lyrics first, how do you go ahead and apply, since you obviously have so much knowledge in songwriting and how music is structured, how do you move those words into a structure?
Well, it'll probably take a little bit longer than we have, but the short version is, the first thing you want to do is you look at this lyric and you say, what kind of song is it? So is it a rock song? Is it a guitar song? Is it a soft song? What are we trying to get across? Is it melodic or is it monotonous? Is it going to be all one note? And when you look at the lyric, you're going to know that. And then you start coming up with a rhythm, the way the rhythm of the natural rhythm of the line. And because it speaks a certain way. It doesn't speak as good when you accent differently, right? Once you get that to happen, then you can start to think about melody. You get melody, you start thinking about chords. And it's all together, it's all related.
Sure.
And if you've had ear training and you've done a little bit, you don't have to have ear training. Paul McCartney can't read music, but he can hear all this stuff, right? So you can be taught to hear it, or you can hear it naturally.
There's
either way
ability.
Yeah, feeling it. A lot of people say they play by feel.
Yeah.
And
even if they have had professional training.
Exactly.
But we all know there's super trained people who always sound trained. And there are super trained people who are very, very free and open and beautiful and can do almost anything. Then there are people that can only stay in one genre, because when they stray from that genre, they sound weird. They don't sound right. And then there are people that just naturally just go. So it's not always something you can put in a box and say that's how it is.
Exactly, like writing or painting or any art.
If you can't flex within that,
exactly,
that creativity, you get nowhere. You don't learn.
But it's all related to life, I think. And this is going to sound a little bit weird, but you have to know yourself, and you have to know how you come across, not only as a singer and a musician, but just in a conversation. And when you can feel what kind of vibe you put out, like I'm not a hard rocker. Don't be a hard rocker.
Really?
You know what I mean?
I finally swore.
So you have to say, what are you? You know, I'm a more mellow thing, or I'm a more melodic pop thing, right? And when you identify that and you do it, you follow what you do naturally, and then you sound better because that is more true to who you are, right?
Oh, absolutely.
What out of everything that you've put on this page is the most important thing to you?
Well, you know, almost every songwriter or writer or musician will tell you their latest project's the thing they're most proud of, or because he just did it. Yeah. But then I just did something else after that, and that topped it too, because I went back at home and built another studio and did a song completely from scratch by myself, and wrote a song and gave it to somebody who's a good friend of mine, and as his theme song for his radio show, because he last year made my album and my song number 7 and number 6 on his top best songs of 2014.
Nice.
So I'm going to pay this guy back, and I wrote him a song, and I recorded it from scratch and did all the instrumentation, all the vocals on it, and that was my big, because when I work with Kevin, I get to lean on my friend and have him help me make it sound good, right? When I did this myself, it was like there's no person to lean on, and so that was kind of a good thing too. So you kind of like your latest kid the most.
There's no greater gift. That's really beautiful of you to do that. Really, honestly, I'm not sure a lot of people, have that scope of consciousness.
Yeah, the level of ability to focus.
To remember the people that really have helped them out or done great things for them, and then, pay them back that way. And a song is by far the most greatest gift that way.
I just want to make sure you have time to talk about your event.
Yes, we have TV's grand event at
Yes.
the Grand Hotel in Trenton.
The
Right?
the Grand
Big deal.
Hotel is a really beautiful historic structure in Trenton.
I've
it's
been
really
there.
beautiful. Yeah, have you?
Yes, it's quite something, and that's on November 22nd.
Yep,
correct?
it's the day after Thanksgiving. You got a
Yes.
kind of a recurring date there, and people come and they've got family in town and stuff. It's a very intimate venue, so fills up really fast. You got to get your
Yeah,
reservations.
You do. So, in addition, where can people get your CD, find your music?
Thank you.
Find you.
Well, on DaveCarusoMusic.com, you can get the latest album, but you can also get the latest single, which has a bunch of different mixes of different songs with a cappella versions and things like that. That is at cdbaby.com. And also the Caruso albums, all of them are together, remastered. They're
Okay.
available at iTunes. So you can kind of get different things in different places.
Excellent. So basically, look up Dave Caruso, and then you can you're linked to everything and anything anybody would want to hear from you.
Dave
Including
Caruso
the
Music.
actor.
Let's hope
DaveCarusoMusic.com.
not.
Minus the
I don't even know the
sunglasses.
actor. Anyway, and Kevin, you're
Hi.
hanging out with him.
I'm with
this
him
whole
as
time?
I'm with him as much as I can be.
Okay.
I'm doing a million
Multi-talented
things.
Do you
so
have
dude.
any of your own projects that you
I
like
have
to?
a lot of stuff going on all
Oh,
the time. But
darn, we don't
you
have
know.
a whole
Drop
sheet
some
of it.
names.
No,
Drop
no,
a
you know
few
what I'll do is
names.
one day I'll come back
I'm
here
like,
and then I'll use Dave on something.
There we go.
Or my stuff.
There we go. Or send
There you go.
me stuff, and I can mention it here.
For sure.
We can link
If you can't
it.
use
We
your
can-
friends,
we
who
promote-
can you use?
I do a little
True.
auto harp. I can do
They're
some auto
friends.
harp on your next piece.
All right. Well, I can
I'm sure
tell
that will rock.
you guys could pretty much be given any instrument and make beautiful music from it. Thank you so very, very
Thanks for
much
having
for
us.
being here.
wanted
Thanks
to hook up the
again
other day.
so much, Dave
Yeah,
Caruso,
Dave, Kevin,
Kevin
thanks
for having us.
Holevar.
so much.
You guys were amazing.
Our
It was
pleasure.
wonderful to be had. Thank you.
Way
Okay, he
to
left
end the
me
show.
speechless. I'm
yeah,
all
that
right.
just tongue-tied me too. All right, rock on.
Have a wonderful evening. Up next is Big and Bigger.
Yes.